Hi, John McElroy here talking all things automotive. And today I want to talk about Ford and how CEO Jim Farley is changing the company. As it transitions from ICE to EV, Ford's starting to turn into a very different company than it used to be. On its recent earnings call with Wall Street analysts, Farley dropped some golden nuggets of information about the changes that are taking place. In a way, Ford is starting to morph into two different companies, an ICE company and an EV company. Now, that doesn't mean that they're going to split Ford into two different companies, but the way they need to run those operations are very different. Here's what Farley had to say.
But I will go back to something we've said and I've said over and over again, which is running a successful ICE business and a successful BEV business are not the same. The customers are different. We think the go-to-market is going to have to be different. The product development process and the kinds of products we develop are different. The procurement, supply chain are all different. The talent is different. The level of insourcing is different. And actually the rhythm of the business is different, fundamentally different.
One of the things that Ford discovered as it got deeper into designing EVs is that the company wasn't set up to do it very efficiently. Historically, Ford has been a very siloed company. Engineering is separate from manufacturing, which is separate from purchasing, and so on and so forth. Organizationally, they're all in their own silos. Even within engineering, different components in the vehicle are engineered in their own silo, not from a total system standpoint. So, for example, the instrument panel may meet all the specs for size, weight, and cost. It might be the best instrument panel in the world, but it may not be optimized for the entire passenger cabin. Or the suspension may be best in class, but maybe it was over-designed from a total system standpoint. Here's what Farley had to say about the lack of systems integration.
But on the cost side and the profit side, I guess we have learned so much about the lack of integration in our engineering operations as we compared our engineering of Mach-E to others that are best in class. And we are finding lots of profit opportunities as we get after that integration between engineering, supply chain, and manufacturing, even within engineering. If I showed you our cooling system for Mach-E, it has 4 motors, probably needs to be 2. It has 60 or 70 hoses, probably needs to be a third of that. And those are the opportunities we're going after. And we are not going to wait for next year. We're not going to wait for a minor change. We are going to re-engineer that vehicle now and then use that expertise for Lightning, E-Transit, and of course our all-electric platforms.
That last point is incredibly important, that they're going to make design changes on the fly and not wait for a model change or refresh. That's the way Tesla does it. Change on the fly. It's what allows Tesla to design cost out of its cars far faster than any traditional automaker. But now Ford is starting to do it too. Farley says just last month they were able to take out $1,000 in cost from the Mach-E. Think about it. Ford plans to build 100,000 Mach-E's this year, so that's a total savings of $100 million that could drop right to the bottom line. Of course, to do design changes on the fly, you have to be able to validate those changes on the fly. Otherwise, you run into quality problems, warranty issues, and a bunch of other stuff that's going to cost a ton of money. That means you need to be able to validate changes in the digital world using tools like digital twins. That's the subject for a whole other video. Here's another part of the earnings call that really caught my attention. Not only does Farley have to change the company internally, the way Ford works with its dealers has to change too. On the analyst call, Brian Johnson with Barclays pointed out that Ford's U.S. dealers were able to get an extra $1,850 of profit per vehicle, mainly by charging more than the MSRP. They're able to charge so much more because new car inventory is so tight these days due to the chip shortage. Put it all together and the dealers pocketed $3.6 billion in profits that could have gone to Ford's bottom line instead. and Ford very much needs that kind of money to invest in EVs. Farley didn't have a lot to say about this, but what he said was a bombshell. Listen up.
On the BEV side, this is quite an important topic because the margins that we want to build to in BEV are going to be heavily dependent on a different go-to-market and customer experience. I won't go into any more than that, but this is a quite important lesson for us of the franchise system and the way we will manage going forward.
Whoa. Let's stop right there. Listen to what Farley said. They need a different go-to-market strategy. Now, the way I hear it, when he says go-to-market, that's kind of a code word for car dealers. Farley recognizes that the traditional franchise dealer model is not going to work when it comes to selling electric vehicles, especially when it comes to Ford pocketing the profits it needs for its EV business. So how will Ford change its relationship with its dealers? Hard to say. You heard it. Even Farley said, I won't go into any more than that. And that's because this is a very touchy issue, very sensitive. Ford has always considered its dealers to be a strategic asset of the company because they're so good at moving the metal. But the franchise model is going to have to become more adaptable, more flexible. Maybe we're going to see a hybrid model, one that incorporates the kind of dealerless sales experience that a direct sales model offers. A direct sales model that looks and feels a lot more like what Tesla does. One thing's for sure, Ford is starting to evolve into a very different kind of car company. Now, that doesn't automatically mean that Ford's going to be able to compete with Tesla and all the other EV startups, but it sure gives it a fighting chance. Say, in case you haven't seen my reports before, I'm John McElroy. I'm an award-winning journalist who's been covering the global automotive industry for over 40 years. I get to interview the top executives and experts in this industry, and this is my way to share my insights with you. And I welcome your comments below.